Hello everyone from a new video. Welcome to the channel. Today, what is conditional acceptance in a video? How to apply to university. I'll give you detailed information about this as in our two previous videos. Generally, I had explained it. This time I will go into a bit of detail. Goodbye. If you subscribe to the channel and like the video before starting the video and watch the video until the end, you will have supported me. Let's get started. I'd like to talk a bit about the university application process before passing the conditional acceptance, because in a way, conditional acceptance is actually a part. Firstly, I need to briefly explain about the university application process in Germany for students who will apply to the university. It's run by DT, which stands for German Academic Exchange Service, and includes all universities. For international students, they can apply through the Central Acceptance Portal. You can also benefit from the official websites of universities. Also, some universities accept applications through their official websites. Even to its sprouts, you can apply online. Of course, you need to pay attention to this here. In Germany, there is still the letter system. Therefore, some universities require you to send a letter and wait for a process of 4 to 5 weeks. So in the school where I'm currently enrolled, that I've been conditionally admitted, for instance, me, I sent my documents to Germany by mail. I applied through the website earlier. Then I mailed my documents to Germany and my application was announced 5 weeks later. But as I mentioned in the previous videos, for example, I belong to RVTH Hana. I applied entirely online via my own platform and completely within working hours, because it entered the weekend during my application period. It took 2 to 3 days. I had received my acceptance in such a period. So what I want to briefly explain here, these processes can change. It's necessary to pay attention to these, especially by reading the websites of the schools. There are information about applications. There are places where the information is given under the headlines. It's necessary to follow these places particularly. The most accurate information for a university can be obtained from these. Of course, there's also such a situation that the application dates are changing. So after the announcement of the university exam like ours, during a preference period and after the preference period, there's no situation like a result announcement period. Every university is different. You can succeed in the winter semester and summer semester. For example, it usually starts in June and ends around September, October. Some even go into November. Again, as I said, on these internet sites, actually, we need to follow the application deadlines and start dates of the schools. I briefly mentioned about the university application process because we can pass the conditional acceptance after understanding this process a bit. Of course, in the upcoming videos, I'm actually going to shoot some special videos about these college application processes. Now, if I need to briefly mention conditional acceptance, you've been accepted to university, but it's conditional. And if you meet this condition, you can enroll. It's a document that shows you can start your education. So here it usually happens like this. It's related to this Rose certificate. Multiplications were accepted, of course, but in different departments such as engineering, medicine, there are actually other sought after features. So you can enter conditional acceptance. Conditional acceptance, but the language I'm going to talk about here, the part related to that language document. Acceptance of the condition usually works like this. There's usually a final date on the acceptance you received. So you need to submit the document within a certain date. You must have delivered your language document to the university by this date. Otherwise, you cannot start studying and you lose the rights you have acquired. Most likely, you will have to reapply and go through the same processes again. I can only mention one exception. Some universities accept registration without a language certificate.
We finished the university's course.
Then it can offer the opportunity to start the department again without the need for reapplication. In some universities, with a certain level of German knowledge, they expect you to start in section B1 or B2, continue with the German course, and after a certain period, take your DSH or TESOL exam. I can give 2 examples. As you know, during the last period, since it was the Corona period, there were difficulties in getting these language documents due to the obligation of the courses to be open. For instance, some schools accept levels like A2, B1 in conditional admission, starting you off at school during this 6 months or 1 year period. They expected you to submit these documents to the university. My conditional acceptance is completely different. I currently have a period of about a year. It's not necessary for me to get the document to be able to start school. I'm currently attending language school. In the university, I haven't started enrolling in the undergraduate program, but after I get my document within this year, my application is already there. I am making my worry. I can start by presenting my language proficiency certificate. So actually, acceptance conditions can vary from university to university here. Of course, there is also such a thing. As I just gave with the first example now, in the Corona period, in the past 2 years, specific prohibitions came and, people ended up with things not in their hands. For example, courses were closed. For example, test centers were closed. That's why they generally provide you with the necessary conveniences when you reach school.
Necessity.
It's that simple. I'll continue to talk more, but I wanted to give some information about universities that offer admission under certain conditions. Actually, you can find the most accurate information by visiting the university's websites. During this process, because conditional acceptance is a bit of a special type of acceptance, of course I couldn't find. Actually, after settling in a university in Turkey, you apply to all universities. You need to send a few household documents. As I mentioned, conditional acceptance is a bit of a special field. That's why I sent emails to consulting firms. These companies, bless them, told me the names of a few universities as an example because I could apply to these universities. I also went with these names. Of course, as I go over these names, I'll mention a few names in a bit, but who communicates with universities via email? There are no conditional admissions, but there is a situation there. There are courses, there are German courses within this school. However, they don't call this conditional acceptance. They are called differently as I mentioned, from conditional acceptance. During this process, I understood, and since the definition of conditional acceptance is this, so I tried to explain to myself, I emailed universities. However, a few of them, maybe among those I'm going to mention now, will respond when you send mail just like before. A few of them will say that we do not accept conditionally, whereas conditionally, they are giving you an acceptance. But thanks to this acceptance, you can apply for a visa. Additionally, you can apply to courses. These courses are usually contracted with universities, so you have conditional acceptances from universities compared to a normal student, to an outsider, 30, 40. You can register for these courses in a way proportional to your weight. The most important thing is like the visa process I mentioned earlier, because you need to have a purpose to get a visa.
These documents.
You can prove it, actually, of course. Besides that, for instance, there's a situation like this. After obtaining my document in the upcoming period, I'm contemplating reapplying to other universities. I chose this university because the process here is a bit easier. So there's this situation. After getting the necessary document, after getting the language document, if I can't get acceptance from other schools, even now, I can start school by just presenting my language document to the school I am at. So there's an extra advantage like this of getting your conditional acceptance. I will mention a few school names without prolonging this process any further. Again, but I say, when you communicate with this, you can get different responses, especially in the mail. It's a bit hard to understand because there are two different videos. But these schools I'm talking about become a name, a template, and they provide convenience. Because for me, this was the most facilitating thing. Maybe there are 100 universities in Germany, but 10, 15 of them told me to wait. When I proceed with names, it becomes easier. Anyway, you need to apply as many universities as you can to increase your chances 3-4 times. Actually, so you have to pay most of them for the application. I'll mention these fees in the normal application process later. It's not really a big fee, but I paid 75 euros. Still, for a Turkish student, because of the exchange rate, it becomes a bit more suitable. Some university applications are free. This varies. When you do the university thing, it's like you are getting 1 + 1 = 0. You get a cheaper rate for the second one. I extended this part, but as I speak, things come to mind. Don't mind my fault. So now, as I said, I'm going to talk about a few hows will be a guide. Well, when you get on the internet and type universities that accept the condition, when you get in touch with advisory companies, if you gather a few names, you're increasing your chances. So you're either getting it from there or you're applying. The school you're considering applying to tells you that it's not Melda. It comes back like this. Now, let me tell you, University of Hamburg, Free University of Berlin, abbreviated as FU Berlin. We can mention universities like Münster University, Bonn University, Hannover University.
Like the university I applied for, Technics University Kolasiolu, is among the universities that give conditional admission. These are just the universities I mentioned. For example, as I said, I will research these in more detail because I can't mention school names in detail. As I said, it varies a lot. It says on the internet site, or the people we talk to tell you that it is a requirement, but somehow different results can come out. They say it's not happening. Let me put it this way. For example, I won't be able to get my acceptance without any problem in my language document while I'm getting acceptance from Spain. However, there was a problem with the registration. My intention is also, like, for example, use the acceptance from the school for a visa application. Well, in dormitory applications and language school applications, this will show acceptance. After doing a language school for a year or maybe 6 months, it is to get the necessary document and then start university. However, I got my acceptance without any problems during the approval process. And I've said it many times, my condition, my A2, I have a German language certificate. I asked if this would cause a problem. They said there would be no problem, but when I came to the registration process, they uploaded the necessary documents for
About
registration.
2 weeks have passed since we arrived.
They told me later that Dilbergen is insufficient. Afterwards, I tried to find someone in charge and talk to them. And at the end, they told me, sorry, there has been a major misunderstanding. However, they told me that you can apply for a visa again using our acceptance letter. However, just at that moment, because I got my acceptance from the other school, I was accepted under the name of Direct Conditional Acceptance to dormitories and language school. I also came using this school because it would be easier for me to apply for a visa like this. So what I want to tell is, although I received acceptance, something like this happened to me, and really, things can change a lot during this process. That's why if you have the opportunity, I think if there are 100 universities, email all of them and get the necessary information, because it's such a variable thing. Definitely do not believe those who say this or that until official mails come from schools during this process. As I said, things can change. I just said it as an example. You don't have to believe me if necessary. As I said, and to confirm this on the websites of these schools,
by the necessary
I will find the email address and establish communication.
Now for sure, then it's my
You might encounter a situation like this. Let me give you an example. I was also thinking of applying to Zilgil University. I knew that they also have a conditional acceptance. I had learned after that, after entering into its portal and making my application, it was asking me to upload documents at the very last part. I reached out at this part, but in the end, as far as I understood, they thought I applied to the department in a normal way. I couldn't explain this exactly. That's why I gave up hope for conditional acceptance from Zigan University this year. I'm planning to apply again next year, but I gave up on it this year. There was a communication problem there. I could not express myself correctly. They could not understand me correctly because such a situation occurred. I thought I applied for the condition acceptance. While there, they asked me for the language school. I apologized, and my health insurance, he wanted me to show my necessary financing. After all, normally these are the things schools ask you to upload after you register, once they are definitely accepted. He wanted this from me there. At that moment, as if I was an active student of the school and I failed a course, as if I was thinking, we received a response. Therefore, I could not apply due to communication problems. Therefore, it is necessary to examine this process and touch deeply. We're nearing the end of the video. Rather than reading a plain text here, I want to relay this process to you by sharing my own experiences. However, of course, since the process I have experienced is such a long process, he kept on talking. Of course, we extended it a bit while trying to mention everything. I want to end the video like this. I want to talk about which documents I used when applying my language certificate, my high school diploma, my high school transcript. Is it university acceptance? When I say university acceptance as a result document to OCM, I am talking about this in Turkey. Of course, let me also say this. I applied through the school's own website, through its own portal. I entered certain information there during my application. My date of birth, the school I graduated from. I entered a lot of information about my education and personal information in my diploma note and so on. After that, I uploaded these documents that I mentioned to that site. In the end, I received a document confirming my application at the point of completing the application, pull it out, sign it, and these collect in and give it to the address given to me by the school. Send these to the address they sent me. Then after 5 weeks, They gave me my acceptance. As I said, I use these documents, but sometimes I might forget some.
I will add below if I forget anything.
Yes, we have come to the end of the video. I hope it has been a useful video. It has been a good video. If you like and share the video, you would be giving me the biggest support in terms of reaching other people. See you in the next video. Take good care of yourself.